sticks that it sticks way past the middle. This piece is actually too big. You can see them here together. There's a pair, and that pitch is much higher than what I want. So I need to adjust these, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to try to lower the pitch a little bit by bringing that distance from the outer edge toward the center down a little bit. Here I've trimmed both sides. You can see it's a little lower pitch. It's still too tall for what I want, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it some more. And then finally I get to the pitch where I want. You can see here I've also added a little center post for convenience that helps keep them from falling in on each other. And of course I make the other two pieces in the same fashion. Now remember, this box is a rectangular shape, so two pieces are going to be different on the sides than the two pieces front and back. Here's what they all look like together when they're laid out flat. You can see they're not perfect 45s. Now to get them to kind of settle in together, I have to quote-unquote miter these edges, and I'm going to do this on the belt sander because I only want a very gentle miter on these. And then that, as I'm sloping that away, allows the pieces to fit together on top of that box better and better. We see some improvement. They're starting to fit together. I'm going to make some small adjustments and some tweaking. I'm not going to panic yet. That I see a big gap there. That will work itself out. And as I go along, I may even do some hand sanding, some real minor tweaking to try to get it tighter and tighter. And here you see we're looking pretty good. That may be about as good as I can get. I do get a little more tweaking here a bit later because I want to bring this down some more. Still a little tall. You can see what it looks like from the side. We're getting a nice slope on there. So before I put the roof on, I do want to cover those vent holes in the roof with some screen and glue. Put some glue over top of that, some thickened epoxy, and then I'm going to basically put a block on top of that to hold everything in place while the glue cures. You can see here I've got a weight sitting on it. At the same time, I've gone ahead and glued that little center post in place as well, so that it'll be stable when I go to put the roof on. After curing, everything is where it needs to be. See, the vent is now blocked by metal mesh. Keeps the bugs out. I'm going to go ahead and set my roof pieces in place, and then I'm going to use a bunch of thickened epoxy to help close up all those edges and hold everything together. After that's cured overnight, we can begin shaping this roof. So the trim pieces are not at the same slope as the roof. Right now they're kind of squared off, and we want to have the roof at a consistent slope all the way down so that water will shed all the way off. So we're going to go ahead and trim the trim pieces to get them to be the same slope as the rest of the roof. This way we can slope all the way off. So I'm going to work the edge here a little bit with my block plane. It just gets kind of some bulk wood off. Being careful with the corners though, because the block plane can nick the other corner. I don't want to do that. Then I'll work with the belt sander, again moving pretty heavy amounts of wood. Belt sander is much better in the corners as far as not nicking things and that sort of thing. We're moving a lot of wood, moving a lot of glue here at this step. As I get things down pretty well refined, I'll go in with the orbital sander and just kind of clean things up. Plane it off. The orbital sander is real good for getting a nice clean plane, making it look pretty and evenly sloped. So step 6 is largely complete at this stage. It's looking nice. Good job, everybody. Got that nice, beautiful roof. So step 7, let's throw some sign plates on here. These are the plates that will hold the police box sign itself. They sit proud of the top trim. I'm going to use a very nice piece of pine because I want that surface to be smooth and relatively defect-free. So this is a little bit more expensive piece of wood, but it's worth it. And then I cut these to size to fit onto those trim pieces. You can see here I'm marking the location where that piece is going to sit on the trim. That way I can go ahead and apply glue in the right places. You can see it's not the same size as the trim. It's a bit smaller. Gives it the classic police box appearance. Now before I put those on, I'm going to go ahead and give the roof a seal coat of epoxy. I want the roof to be especially well sealed because it's going to take the most weather, the most water, rain, and everything. So I'm putting a thick coat of epoxy over the whole thing. This epoxy is being allowed to soak into the wood, soak into some of those cracks, and really seal it up good and tight. And I'll actually put even more on later, trying to make that as tight and weather resistant as I can. Here's the back vent. We're also going to put some epoxy in those vent channels to keep those vent channels from being degraded by any water that might happen to get in there. We don't actually want water in there, but we need to prevent that. We're going to go ahead and put sign plates on the left and the right, and we will allow them to cure. Glue is placed inside the space that we marked, and of course on the back of the panel. Once that glue is cured, you can go ahead and start working on the front and back panels. So here I'm taking a moment to go ahead and clean up the extra glue that we had put on the roof with the orbital sander, just kind of giving it a quick scrub. And the roof now gets a second coat of epoxy. Again, just trying to fill up all those cracks and crevices, make sure everything is well sealed. I think after looking at the first coat that went on, there were still some areas that I felt needed more glue filling them up to tighten them up and keep them well sealed. So this is the second coat. Now we're going to go ahead and place the back sign plate over top of those vent channels. Remember, we made these vent channels, and by putting that sign plate over top of them, we make effectively a tube. That tube goes up and in through the vent in the back. And the reason we want it to do that like that is to make a tortuous path so that water can't get into there. Now we put the front and back plates on, we let the glue cure. And this is where we are when all that has dried. Looks really nice. Again, we can give the roof another round of cleanup, sanding with the orbital sander, just kind of leveling things out. We also want the epoxy to have some tooth to it, so that when we go to glue something else to it, we can. So here's where we're at the end of step 7. Wow, this looks really good, guys. You're doing a great job, and we're making a lot of progress. So here's what we did. We went ahead and we added these roof pieces onto the box. The vent holes, some of the vent details we'll take care of with the screen. And of course we have also added the sign plates on top to the top trim, as you see here, coming in. Next time, this is where we're going to pick up next time. We're going to start working on the lantern holder. This is a very, very detailed piece. I mean, it's a really small piece, but there's a lot of detail in this, so we'll spend a lot of time on that next time. And of course, in an upcoming episode, we will work on the door. Again, this is a very detailed piece. We'll be spending a lot of time on the door as well. And once we have the door taken care of, we're going to begin adding the lattice to the box as well as the lattice to the door itself. And then we're going to have a very nice police box here, all ready for some paint. That looks absolutely fabulous. This is our goal. This is where we're going to try to get to in up and coming episodes. Great job, everybody. This is what we're going to get to when we get to the end. hung with me this far, thank you for sticking it out. You're doing great. Hang in there. We will get to the end. So coming up in episode 5, we're working on the lantern. Like I said, a very detailed part. So we're going to spend pretty much the whole of episode 5 just on the lantern mold.